Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Elizabeth Holmes. A Benson family was left scrambling after they say their Amazon delivery driver hit their beloved dog and then drove away. While the dog survived, they were faced with thousands of dollars of vet bills, and that's when they turned to Five on Your Side's Keely Arthur to help get Amazon to pay up. Here's our conversation. This Benson family, their dog is hit by an Amazon driver.
Yes.
So what ended up happening?
Okay, so I feel like in this day and age, if you don't have a video for something, it feels like, well, did it really happen?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to kind of explain that aspect of it. So this family lives, as you said, in Benson, very rural. I think they have Starlink for their Wi-Fi and stuff. So they don't have the cameras that many city dwellers have because they have so much space. So I just want to lay out kind of the order of events and how we got to this belief or understanding of what happened. So the family has two dogs. They kind of like roam around on the property, but they have for their Amazon packages a specific delivery drop-off site. So it's like a big, it almost looks like a treasure chest. I was at the property yesterday. You go onto the property, that's in their Amazon app, it says this is where to drop things off. You know, you can put directions and instructions for your deliveries for Amazon. So they put in the instructions, they've had these instructions for a long time, drop it off here, and then you're supposed to back out of the driveway, not go up further up to the property, back out of the driveway, and then leave. That's what did not happen in this situation. They have sensors in their driveway, so once cars start to get up really close, they hear an alarm in their home. They heard the alarm, then they went outside, and they saw their dog, Sadie, very injured. I've luckily never had a dog that's been hit by a car, but apparently they kind of try to run away.
Oh my gosh.
Or her eyes, I guess, were bouncing back and forth. Like she was clearly something had happened to her.
Yeah.
And more than that, the package was delivered at 4:56 according to the app. The owner was on the phone with the vet at 4:59. Brought the dog to the vet. The vet said these injuries are absolutely consistent with being hit by a car. The dog had head trauma, a fractured neck. One of her eyes was like bulging out of her head.
Oh.
It was a very traumatic injury that had happened. But I say all this because you and I, as journalists, work in facts. So allegedly, an Amazon delivery driver hit that dog by going up the driveway. We know that possibly because of the alarms, and then drove away, leaving the dog. We don't know if the driver knew that they hit the dog, but the dog's a big kind of pit bull. You know, you maybe would feel that.
Yeah.
And so Amazon did not dispute the incident, but when it came to paying for the vet bills, it became a big issue. So Amazon, luckily the dog was injured, not killed. There's a lot of incidents on the internet where Amazon has like hit the dog and the dog dies. But when you're a pet owner, you start to go up against this thing, weighing like, do I keep paying for all these surgeries not knowing if my dog is going to survive? Or do I put my dog down and put it out of its misery to not incur, tens of thousands of dollars of medical debt?
Right.
So that's where they were, and that's why they got me involved.
Wow. That's got to be so traumatic for the family to, not only have to see and witness something like that, but then also figure out, A, how did this happen? And B, those next steps of, do we put down a member of our family or not?
Yeah, I can't imagine. Do you have pets?
Yeah, I have a cat that I love.
I have two dogs that I'm like,
yeah.
I like them better than like my whole human family, other than my husband. And so, and my sister and my parents. But I'm just like, I can't imagine that. So they were really scrambling, and Amazon doesn't have any public policies on this, but they basically have to adhere kind of to the laws of each state. And in the state of North Carolina, dogs are considered property. So if you hit a dog it's considered property damage. And basically that limits you kind of in a criminal court, but it also limits how much money you can recoup, what you can take from the courts, and then how Amazon kind of handles these situations.
Wow. So when they called you, what were they asking you? How did they want you to get involved?
They just wanted me, I get involved when it comes to the companies. Like usually, sometimes Five on Your Side people will call because they're having an issue with their neighbor. I really try to take on cases that are, a viewer, a person versus a company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what was happening here. They wanted Amazon to, first of all, acknowledge what happened because, they were kind of like, what in the world happened? Hold Amazon accountable just from an emotional standpoint, and then also have Amazon reimburse them for these vet bills that were just racking up because the dog was treated, and then the next night, I think, was having additional bleeding, had to be brought to Raleigh for the North Carolina NC State Vet School, which is, a state-of-the-art place, but very expensive to do an overnight stay and all of that. So they wanted Amazon to basically agree to reimbursing the vet bills so they didn't have to worry about the financial strain of all of this.
Wow. So obviously you get involved. What did that look like? What were your questions, I guess, to Amazon?
So Amazon was very kind of surface level with me at first, and I just felt like and then they were like, we're working directly with the family. Well, the family got me involved because every time they called Amazon, they were getting a different person. They didn't have like a case manager. They'd have to call, re-explain what happened, and then they would get different answers from every Amazon person. For me, I'm calling the media team. So I'm usually working with one point of contact, and they just wanted more of like a consistent through line. Like, what are we actually going to get from Amazon? So after I got involved, Amazon indicated that they are going to reimburse the family for their medical bills. And at the time, they were only going to do, before I got involved, they were only going to do like one bill. But this was evolving. Anyone who's been through a medical incident as a human being knows, like, it's usually not just one and done. You're paying for additional things. So that's what happened with the dog. They just wanted assurances that as they continued to give this dog care and as things changed day by day, that those bills would be covered too. So Amazon has indicated to me they are going to do that. They are going to reimburse the family and reimburse additional vet bills as they pop up, anything related to this. And now the situation is with like a third party that handles the claims. So Amazon has passed it on to them. And then I'm going to, I'll do the update on that story like it's been done. Because, I like to go on air once it's just completely settled. But this was a story where we've had enough assurances that this is going to go through, and then I'll do the update once that money is like actually back in the family's bank account.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure it feels good to know that you're helping this family just try to navigate it, because I wonder how many other people have gone through something like this.
We've gotten a lot of messages, but a lot of times it's like the dog is dead and Amazon will pay for, and it's interesting. I wish there was, this doesn't get to the courts. I wish there was more of a understanding of like how common this is, because they seem to have a protocol for this. So from my understanding, other people have dealt with this. If their dog's passed on, Amazon will like pay for cremation or dealing with the remains, and then give like a little memorial kind of gift. In fact, when this was going on with Amazon, they had their wires so crossed with this Benson family. At one point, they were like, we'll give a memorial gift for Sadie. Well, Sadie wasn't dead. Like, that's so traumatic. So it does, it feels really good. That's kind of, this job is like very taxing because you're dealing with people who are stressed and you're having to go up against these big companies like Amazon. But it can feel very validating when you get a family like nothing more. I never get anyone anything more than what they deserve or contractually obligated to get. I'm not like getting them $1 million from Amazon,
right?
But they deserve to have the medical bills of the dog paid for, especially since this happened on the property. It wasn't like the dog ran into the street or anything like that. So
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned, North Carolina law and how it treats animals as property. I guess, was there anything else that stuck out to you about how North Carolina law kind of applies to this situation or anything like that?
I took my dogs to the vet yesterday, and I asked, have you seen any dogs come in being hit by an Amazon truck, anything like that? They said no, but the fact that dogs are considered property in North Carolina has been a point of contention. But then on the flip side of that, they were explaining to me that once you deem them something beyond property, like, they have other rights, it will cost you more as pet insurance. Like it'll raise the cost of other things. So I just thought that was really interesting. I think people don't know that they're considered property here. And because they didn't have a video, they couldn't do like a hit and run claim with the police. They did file a police report, but the police said without video confirmation, we can't investigate this as a hit and run. So I've said this in many stories, and I should practice what I preach more. Get a dash cam video, like get a dash camera, get as many cameras as you can on your property, because like that will save you. In this day and age, that's really what the court of law is looking for and these businesses are looking for. Like if a rock falls from a truck and hits your windshield, I've had so many people contact me about that. I understand you witnessed it happen, but it's your word against the company's. Get the video proof. You're golden.
Wow. Well, I mean, how's this family doing, throughout all of this?
They're okay. They're stressed because we're running the story and the money hasn't gone back to them yet. So I'm going to continue to see them through. I saw the dog yesterday.
Yeah, how was Sadie?
Sadie's fabulous. She's so great. She posed for a bunch of stand-up teases and stuff for shooting for the news. Keith, my photographer, I've never seen him so happy shooting something.
Oh my goodness.
So everybody's on the mend, but they're still just apprehensive because of the way Amazon dealt with this out the gate. Kind of that runaround, the confusion that they thought the dog was dead at one point, like all of that. So I think they're ready for this to be over, and we're going to make sure they get a happy ending.
Right. Yeah. I guess, it sounds like Amazon is working with them at this point. Have they admitted fault to any of this, or have they said that they're going to maybe change policy or how they approach
I don't see them changing policy.
Yeah.
When I feel like a company isn't answering just my basic questions, that's when I kind of go in a little bit more large and in charge and send a long list of questions like, hello, answer these things. I mean, most people get packages delivered from Amazon. A lot of people have pets. Like this is a valid line of questioning.
Yeah.
And while they didn't answer my questions after I sent that barrage of questions, they did send a more cohesive statement saying, like, we're working on this. We're going to make sure that they can turn in more than one bill. We're going to see this through. I don't think they're going to change policy anytime soon, but people should know they have rights. And I'm up to my ears in stories, but I think this always just shows the power of companies don't want the bad publicity.
Yeah.
And so, if you're watching this here, you can obviously turn to 5 on your side. But, use social media, use like the things at your disposal to get this on the radar of other people, because companies seem to right their wrongs or redirect more when there's the spotlight on how they're handling things versus like, why can't you just do the right thing in the first place? But yeah.
I think another major takeaway is have a camera, like get a camera for your home, like a Ring camera or a dash cam, and report things as soon as possible, especially when it comes to, any kind of delivery service and pets, because so many people get things delivered to their home now and they have pets just running around. So it's a good thing for them to know that there are options, there are ways to reach out to a company and try to get things fixed.
And this company, the Amazon, this delivery in particular, they said, they try to keep their pets inside when they know a delivery is coming. It came a day early. Oh. So, it was just a series of really unfortunate events. But, yeah, it took me a while to write this story because we didn't have that video.
Right.
And so, but I had the timestamp of like when the package was delivered, when she called the vet, and the fact that the doctor was saying these injuries are absolutely consistent with it, being hit by a car, and then Amazon never disputing it. Amazon never was like, well, we think you're lying. And I buried the lead. The driver is no longer working with the company. After I got involved, that was something, I never want to get but like times are tough. I don't want anyone to ever lose their jobs.
Right.
But, maybe if you're doing that and that happens and you drive away, maybe you shouldn't be a delivery driver. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that just kind of adds one more piece of the puzzle to this story.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to add that we didn't talk about that you think is important?
No, just like you said, get the video. I'm not blaming the family for not having that, and I understand why they didn't. But like for a lot of people, you don't have 14 acres of property. You have your front yard, and you're getting packages delivered. So throw on a Ring camera, throw on something cheap. Make sure it's being stored locally so you have it, and you're not like putting it up in the cloud and can't access it. And that will really be like the linchpin to getting results from these companies. If I can show them video and proof, we can always get results.
Amazing. Well, Kaylee, thanks for chatting with us about this, and I'm glad that the family is able to kind of move forward with this, and glad that Sadie's on the mend.
Me too.
Thanks for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.